We're back to the old way of recording. We're going back, recording 2 in a week, just that way we don't have any screw up scheduling and stuff like that. KJ, welcome back.
Cheers.
All of you people, you got a fucking partner on the lonely road somehow. You got some luck. We're on a journey to heal and become better humans. Some of you guys may know me or KJ from my job, her other job, her podcast, my podcast, whatever the hell you guys follow us on, the TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Welcome back. Check out G Fuel. Use code RMTS, 20% at checkout. Remind me after this, I got to tell him to send us the mental health one that they just released.
Oh,
Fucking
nice.
forgot about it. And I want to make sure
Okay.
that we both have it. So that way we can, do our job. It feels good to be talking on this microphone as eloquently as I am, as we were talking about last episode. It feels good to finally just be with it. And,
Good.
scrolling through these topics and stuff like that, I was like, oh, I can't wait to be able to talk about this. Can't wait to talk about that. This one stuck out to me, and I was hoping that you were going to choose this one or these two that we talked about doing the next two. And I'm really kind of excited because I look at this in a very, very, very different way than your generation does, or even my generation does.
hmm
And that's toxic families and toxic friendships and stuff like that. And how fucked up some people look at this shit, that you should just accept, because I don't think that that's how a lot of people are doing it anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely changed generation to generation. And I think that my generation's kind of half, Gen X is kind of half and half um, as far as the family toxicity and either completely removing themselves from the family
Or
or
just completely
staying
held
in it.
held the exact same standard that you had, that you called out for so long, saying, oh, this is toxic, this is toxic. Oh, well, it's the easy way and I'm not going to change it.
It wasn't really a word in my generation when I was growing up.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was just the way life was. Things would have to be really, really bad in order to be called abuse, and then we absolutely called it abuse. But things had to be bad, like you had to get hands thrown on you.
Yeah. Nowadays saying, oh, you better not be home before the sun sets is abuse. Then it was an everyday thing. It was children should be seen and not heard. Now that's abuse. Then it was an everyday thing that was said. And it's just like there's a lot of things in this world and in context of what actually should happen that genuinely shows exactly how this shit really is. Like it's kind of warped how I've looked at things. I'm sure it changes how you look at things, even when you look back. And it's such an interesting conversation to have, because there's some things that some people will accept. Some people will accept, oh, well, kids are to be seen and not heard. There's still like parents that hold that same sentiment now. I
Some
want to
people
be able to
absolutely believe that. Yeah.
that I want to be able to go to the bar and sit here and smoke every day, or sit here and just play video games. And, the woman can take care of the kids. And, that's exactly how things should be. It's like the toxicity of what a parent or a family member is hasn't really fucking changed. We even saw it this weekend. Oh, you didn't raise your kids right. They're not fucking respectful enough to stand up. Nah, bitch, I don't fucking like you. You don't like me because I run my mouth? I don't fucking like you because you snort shit. Like, let's call it as it is. My kids have never been around you because you can't stay clean a day in your life. And that's toxic to me.
Yeah.
If you can't look through all of your life without a filter over it, like we're in fucking the 20s and sepia filters how everybody sees everyday life with your alcoholism and drug use, I promise you, you won't be in my life for very fucking long.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that if you think about it. And I agree with you, absolutely 100%. Taking it a step further into today's society, it's filters.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a filter, and you see somebody in person and you don't know them from their social media because they have so many filters on. It's just another form of toxicity. It's crazy.
To me, when I set out on the internet, that's why my show's named Real Men Talk Shit. It's a pun based off of, the inner city kid that grows up and, oh, snitches get stitches, talk shit, get hit. No, If you're a real man, if you're a real dude that's just got to keep it real, you're going to say whatever the fuck's on your mind. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. If you hit me because of what I say, guess what? I had balls enough to fucking say it. And to me, that's more real. I'd rather you be real with me. I'd rather you tell me everything that's on your fucking mind instead of holding something back. And that's kind of the honesty that I bring to the entire platform of YouTube. I'd rather be honest and completely transparent than sit here and hold shit back.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. A lot of people, got scared with the whole toxicity of cancel culture. It still happens. But for a while there in 2020, 2021, it was the 2022 that it was rampant. And just another form of that cancel culture toxicity. And it's not family, but it's another form of the toxicity.
Exactly. And it's so hard to realize or see exactly what somebody is trying to say. Are they saying, "Oh, this is so big that I have to cancel somebody over it?" Or is it my feelings are so hurt that I have to cancel somebody over it? And it's really hard to judge exactly what the fuck that is. And I had that same conversation last week on the show. I was like, obviously, Casey Anthony being canceled is kind of logical. I understand why everybody doesn't want her to have a voice, but she also is a human and has the same rights as everybody else. So should we just cancel somebody for things that they've done? Like the dude who shot Ronald Reagan. Guess what? Has a YouTube channel and a podcast. Should we just remove his availability to speak because he was, super super fucking fucked up for a very long time? And that's where I look at these two episodes as something that you could genuinely connect. There are some toxic things that you can remove out of your life for 5, maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years, if that's how long it takes them to change. Honestly, that's exactly, we have dealt with the same exact fucking thing.
Mm,
I looked at most of my family and flipped the bird and said, "Hey, I can't deal with this shit anymore. Nobody wants to take me seriously. Nobody wants to hear what I'm saying. It's okay. Keep going. I'll do it. I'll do what I need to do over here. Keep going. Do I want bad for you? No. But stop fucking talking shit about me if you're fucking lying. It's not okay." And I think that a lot of people genuinely don't understand that. They want to say everything that every time somebody walks away is like, "Fuck you. Go fucking throw dirt on it and see if flowers grow." And that's the point that I think that everybody kind of gets frustrated with is when I was written out of this family, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, when I started talking shit, the flowers fucking grew regardless of if you fucking watered them because I kept working. You may not have, but I did. That's why everybody was like, "Zach, where were you? Zach, let's fix things. Zach, let's work on everybody together and help everybody because they need it." People barely call you because they don't want to hear your voice. I hate that shit. I genuinely do. Because it seems like a lot of people, her specifically, but a lot of people in these situations want to hold on to these toxic traits that a lot of parents and grandparents still have.
mhm.
And they don't want to let people go because, oh, they gave me life. Motherfucker, they might be the reason why you have mental illness. They might be the reason why you're hurting today and you can't get past it. Whether that's physical abuse, mental abuse, or even worse. They may be the very reason why you can't get past something because you can't let them go. Whether they're still here or not, you still can't let the feeling go.
Yeah,
And that's a weird place.
it's a weird place to be. It's hard to let go of the way somebody's made you feel. You know, like that's where the toxicity comes from. It's not necessarily just one person in the situation's fault or blame to
Oh,
lie on.
absolutely.
It's just a clashing of personalities at the time or situations at the time. Uh, but it's so surreal how somebody so close to you can, you like, in growing up, you're so close to your parents, and then all of a sudden one day you realize that person in your life, cousin, parent, brother, sister, whatever the case is, aunts, uncles, um, there's something that you have to walk away from for a certain period of time, in order to make yourself right, to move forward for yourself. Um, for me, I had to completely, like, take myself out. I
Yeah.
had to take myself out of uh, rotation and just kind of
I'm not a
get down
part
to
of
the
this anymore.
basics. No, yeah, I'm sleeping, I'm eating, and I'm going to work, and I'm coming home and I'm paying my bills. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm getting that stuff straightened out. And then I'll reach out and figure it out from there.
And I think the big thing that a lot of people genuinely don't understand, especially if they haven't fully healed from the toxic situations that they had as a kid, is when you start developing a family, whether that's a significant other and kids, or you have kids before a significant other is in the picture, you're no longer worried about the family you came from. And you cannot let the family you came from affect the people that are in your circle now. The people you came from cannot affect the people you made. And that is a really weird realization to have. Like you want to hold on to those ideals that mommy gave you or daddy gave you of like all of these things. These things matter so much. Like, oh, my mom is my number one. It should be my best friend, the person I rely on the most. And at some point, that has to change. So them not realizing that that has to change and always instilling this without, an exit plan is actually toxic if you think about it, because it's almost a codependence. It's a
It
dependence
is.
on that parent to
Mm-hmm.
always be, regardless of what the fuck you're saying or what the fuck's going on, that they're always right, that they're going to give you the right guidance when they are just uniquely human.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
they could fuck up, they could have their own feelings, their own morality, their own opinion on that situation, and you might not agree with it.
It's
And
hard to see.
honestly,
God,
you shouldn't have to agree with everything that they say for the rest of your life. You're your
no.
own human. You're going to regret
Yes,
things.
for sure. It's hard to see that your parents are human as well. When you look at a situation and you look at your parents, you're always looking up to them as a child. And it's hard to get to the point where you realize that, oh wait, they're not perfect. And yet things were shitty and could have been either toxic or not toxic, or people made mistakes or otherwise. I mean, you
Yeah.
can separate the degrees of, not everything is toxic. You can't just throw the toxic label at
Oh,
everything.
absolutely.
You can't be like, oh, I don't like this, it's toxic, or you're toxic, or I'm toxic.
Yeah,
Get
I
away from.
disagree with
I
that
mean,
shit.
I
To
believe
me,
that.
toxicity is the gray area before abuse and including abuse.
Yeah, yeah, I
Like if
agree.
it actually traumatizes you, you're in a toxic fucking situation. And you very well might be the toxic one. So let's get that part directly out of the situation. You could be the fucking problem.
No, yeah, absolutely.
But as a whole, that's to me what toxic, especially in child and parent relationships, is like if you're borderlining on abuse, you're in that gray area of manipulation, you're in that gray area of, oh, you threaten to hit your kid, you threaten to do this, you threaten to do that. You're the problem.
Yeah,
You're in that toxic situation.
and it's that generational curse of
Yeah.
toxicity, and they probably learned it from, that's the way their father taught or looked at or threatened them, and backwards and so on. Because I know that in my family, it was there was a generational abuse that happened.
Yeah.
My grandfather was completely abusive to his kids, and so that's what they learned, and that's how they learned to raise kids, and so that's how, at least my dad raised me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The way he knew how. And yeah, he is human, and he and that generation didn't. They worked. It was a, I need to provide for my family. I need to do this, then this, and it wasn't much of working on who they
Understanding.
were, or even
Yeah.
knowing how. Uh,
And I think the big thing that I want everybody to take from this, whether you get the guidance or you figure out how to handle this yourself, is you're allowed to make a decision. At the beginning of this, at the end of this, you can either decide to accept, hey, they did these things, they're trying to fix them, or you can write somebody off completely, regardless of how close they are. You,
sure, be careful
it,
though.
yeah.
Be careful though, because you may be, and as I very well know in my own life, you may be thinking in your early years that you want to write off these people that you believe are toxic, um, when you can't, your brain's not even fully formed to see a complete
Oh,
picture yet.
absolutely. I'm just saying, like, there are people like my sperm donor of a father that I talk
Oh
about so
yeah, for
openly,
sure.
like that. There is an end gap of like there is no redemption to me.
Hmm.
Like, regardless of if he drilled rebar through his fucking door so that way the police couldn't knock down his door. Like the level of shit that you have to go through to apologize to that level of like come up, it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a light at the end of that tunnel for me. The redemption's for me in this situation. It's not for you. You can't fix it. There is no way to fix it. Is there some people that do have that redemption available to them? I absolutely think so. And then there's some people that you should never fucking walk away from to begin with. But you do have to restructure that slightly manipulative, that slightly toxic, that slightly gray area situation into something that is equal. And a lot of parents don't want to look at that situation as either they were wrong or that morphing and changing at all
Yeah,
because they do see that manipulation there and they actually fucking accept it.
yeah, it's
And
hard.
that's the hard part.
It's absolutely hard. Getting to becoming an adult and getting into an adult relationship with your parents is a huge adjustment to begin with. And so, especially in those times that you already know are stressful, you don't want to make rash and snap decisions in the forms of absolute and out abuse, as we both have been party to. It's okay to make the decision to take yourself out of the situation.
Mhm.
Um, just be careful. Just be careful. I'm not saying that abuse is always redeemable, because that's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying,
No, absolutely not.
aside from abuse, be careful about labeling things toxic and cutting yourself
Or even
off
abusive. Like
from the,
labeling something as toxic or abusive
yeah,
almost gives somebody no availability for redemption.
yeah.
To me, like especially with the way the world is now and everything else, everybody wants to label everything as this big fucking big demonized fucking thing. And yes, those titles are absolutely available, but at the same time, the understanding that you have for the world, the understanding that they have for the world is going to be different. So
Mhm,
understand exactly what kind of person they are and kind of put into context who you are, who they are, and if it matters.
for sure.
Like,
You have to be able to give room for growth. If
mhm,
you're, for instance, with a person or family members with a person that is, they may not see the toxicity that they're throwing out there. In my case, I didn't. I was very toxic in my younger years, and I didn't realize that I was in my younger years, just until recently, I didn't realize that I was throwing out as much toxicity as I was. And
yeah.
it took a, a, a near catastrophic situation for me to see and be able to put together that I was what I hated when I was a kid.
Yeah.
That realization's fucking difficult.
Oh, absolutely. So I went through that too. I went through that probably right around the time Ava was born.
Yeah,
I started looking at myself and being like, okay, how I'm trying to word these things correctly because the last thing I need is Court being affected by wording these things this way. But dealing with a situation where there is so much abuse from the other parent, I always felt like I had to be the one that stepped in the way and handled all of the situations and problems.
gotcha. The discipline.
And I had to be the person that pulled her out of the situation so way the kids were okay. And that if anything happened, it was on me instead of them. And it made me into a person that I didn't fucking like
Right. Right.
because it's like that's not me. Like, do
Yeah.
I have a line of understanding? Absolutely. Do I have a line of you better fucking hit this exact point of this is how I need you to be? Yeah, but that's respect, not a fucking number on a grade sheet.
Right.
And like that fucked up so badly for me. But the one that hurt me the most, and it'll be interesting to hear your perspective on mine and even tell yours if you want to, is the first time that I tried to start getting respect from others as an adult. And that was when we found out we were pregnant with Madison at 15 years old, 16 years old. I remember my ex came over with her mom. They just left the doctors and they gave her a pregnancy test and everything else. And we found out we were pregnant with Madison. And everybody kind of gave us like an hour, hour and a half to kind of put our minds together and have a conversation, which respectable. That's
Yeah.
step that's huge. Like
y-
give us time. This is our choice, not fucking yours.
Right.
And we came to the decision of like we wanted this. This is what this is what happens. This is what we decided all of these times. We're okay. We'll figure it out. And we did. Like honestly, if you minus the abuse, we figured it out pretty fucking well for a
Yeah.
really long fucking time.
Yep.
I remember walking out there and she was afraid to face her mom. Like she couldn't put the anger to her face and she was abused for so long by her mom specifically. And after this, things got even worse. But they looked at me and said, "So what do you decide?" I said, "I decided that this decision isn't yours. This decision's mine. I'm going to be an everyday dad and it's not your fucking choice to make." And I got looked and said, "Well, that's not your fucking decision." And it's like, no, the part of this that's not your decision is the fact whether or not this baby comes into this world. That decision's mine, not yours. And that made me really like looking back at it. It was like a fight and a struggle to get respected as an adult because like I'm bringing a fucking human into this world. Do I
Right.
need you to go tell me to brush my teeth or go take a shower? No, I don't. Like I need to be treated as an equal. Like if you see that I'm doing something wrong, absolutely, let's have a conversation and fix it. But if you're not going to equalize me in this situation, we're going to have fucking respect issues.
Right.
And it's such a bookend to me of like the bookend of my childhood stopped in that conversation, and that weird like situation that you went through for so long, moving out to Utah, running away from every single problem, is my entire fucking marriage. And it's a weird fucking situation because you see me change so fucking much in that entire situation.
Yeah.
But it starts at that conversation. It starts saying, hey, this isn't okay. And I look back at that situation and I was right saying that that's wrong and that's not fucking okay. That's not a person you keep around. That is controlling and fucking disgusting. I don't get to choose whether my kid comes into this world or not. That's fucked up. You're gonna tell me I can choose how much time I have available to my fucking kid? That's fuck you. I'm a dude that's never had a dad in that sense. Like, you don't get to dictate that.
Right.
That's not your choice.
No.
And it's scary because there's so many people that deal with situations like that that don't have the guts to just say, No, you can't make these decisions for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
I'm not
after
a,
you're 18.
yeah. A lot of it is, going back into the generational thing. It's not something that I would have even fixed myself to say to my father. It's just not. Um, like if I don't know. It's just it's a different because I was scared. I would have never. It, there was only a couple times where I went head to head with my dad, and none of them ended up well. Um, so then you just don't, and then you take yourself out of the situation, and then you try to, you know, put your feet back in the situation because time has passed, and you know, um, and it's different, and it's hard
Yeah.
to navigate at that point.
And it's weird to rebuild. Like it's somebody you know so rawly and intently, even in situations of control, like your situation or my ex's mom, where they control and dictate every single part of your life. That you know them so uniquely because they've controlled every single aspect of your life. They controlled what color shoelaces were on your shoes. Like when you start regrowing that relationship or you try and fix it, that it feels weird because you're like, how do I show somebody I'm different and I know you're not different, but I need you to realize it. And it's a weird paradox.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting, and then you have again the intergenerational frames of mind, um, and those can come to a head, and in my situation, they did. It's it's okay to say things are not okay.
Yeah.
What's not okay is to you say what you need to say, but for me, I wish I hadn't lashed out. I wish I had been able to center myself
Well,
and
it's
not be afraid to speak from my place of truth
yeah.
with my dad specifically.
Well, it's so hard to feel and put your feelings out there and also demand respect, but do it with understanding. And like there's so many different levels and tier to this, that there's something that every single person here, if you're struggling with your mom, your dad, or you're a mom and dad and you want to figure out exactly how to do this, there's one thing that I want every single fucking person that has kids or has one of these situations they want to deal with, and how they could help their parents deal with it a little better. If your kid comes to you and says, "Mom, Dad, I need to tell you how you fucked up and how something fucking hurt," you don't say, "But I didn't see it that way. I didn't mean it that way." The kid fucking knows you didn't mean it that way. The kid knows you didn't see it that way.
They may not.
Thing
They may
thing
not.
is you're trying to explain how something fucking hurt, and you internalizing it and saying I automatically hurts. You're trying to make it feel like what you see or feel in the situation matters more, and that's not how you should respond. It should be, "I'm sorry for how you feel." It should be, "I'm sorry. In your opinion, what did you see? How can I make it better? Like, what should I have done?" Especially if there's more kids in the house, because if they're still making the same problems and the same decisions, things could get worse for other kids. Things could
For
get worse
sure.
for other people.
For sure. I agree that there should be more of a response rather than a defense. And that's what it all comes down to. I think that communication in itself is more open if there's less defensiveness and more responsiveness, listening, more active listening, and really hearing what the other person has to say and how they feel, and how they feel matters. In
And it
my
seems
the
like
generation.
your generation is the bookend of that.
Yeah.
A lot of your generation still holds that whole I have to be defensive. You're not allowed to question me mentality that you guys were shown. And a lot of us have kind of rebelled against that.
Yeah.
And that's why we're seeing such a distinct shift in between those two generations, especially when we're having kids again. You know what I'm saying? Like there's such a generational shift there that it's creating such a paradox and such a shift in what the hell we're all saying
Yeah.
that everybody's still butting heads.
Yeah. Your generation, though, if people will just open their minds, um, they can see the goodness in all of it, in all the generations. Because honestly, um, your generation opened me up to the fact that it doesn't have to continue this way. We
Yeah.
can heal and we can carry that forward to the next generation. I mean, it started when you and I weren't really speaking. My nephew Angelo opened up my eyes to a totally different, just a totally different view of it. The way your generation was thinking about things not being that way. And he grew up in a rough environment too, so it was interesting, um, to see the differences, and it really made me stop and just take a look. Um, at that point, I really didn't know how, because I didn't have my own self under control. But then once I got my own self under control, I was able to hone in and move forward on just doing everything I can to help people realize that you don't have to be stuck in toxicity or in grief or in this mental cage that you may put yourself in or were put in. You don't have to stay there. You can get out. It is not easy, but you can do it.
And it's so sad. It hurts. It hurts me because I see it so often. These people that just want to put a label on somebody. Oh, they have this mental illness. They struggle with this. Their
Hmm.
parents were abusive in this way, or you know, they're the Mormon kid who had all of the shit taken from them, so that way they rebelled and everything fell on their face. And it just makes me frustrated. It makes me so frustrated because it's like you built that in a sense. The parent built that and caused that to happen because of the level of control and dictation that they built into that kid.
Yeah.
It's like the second that your hands are no longer around their shoulders pushing them fucking forward, they're gonna fucking trip on their shoelaces because you never taught them how to fucking tie them.
Yes. You see that so much. And it's kind of a whole different form of toxicity when, like, I know someone whose mom just did everything for him growing up, like, to his, obviously cooked and cleaned, and like he didn't have to do anything. Like, there were no learning how to life skills
Yeah.
taught to this person, and it it crippled him. He doesn't know how to do these things. He doesn't understand how important it is, to keep your home clean, or
And it's like a light switch. Either you see the switch on the wall and you turn it on, or you have no fucking idea it's there.
no, no. You don't just learn things. Poof, you're 18, and okay, you're on your own now. If you've never put laundry in a washing machine, or scrambled eggs on a stove, or even boiled water, you are left floundering. And it's the toxicity of not teaching your children how to life.
You're left
Some.
arguing over whether or not you make mac and cheese with water or not. Good old callback. Hilarious. But like it's just it's that it's almost like the toxic parents, like 65, 70% of them are those controlling, overbearing dictators that absolutely want to either do everything they can for their kid, because that's still control, regardless of if anybody wants to see it like that or not, or the one that literally just rules their house with an iron fist and either you do everything their way or there's a huge fucking issue.
Right.
And
Right.
it's like those two situations account for so many fucking problems when you become an adult and you're trying to put the pieces together and you're trying to figure it out, that there is nothing that you can do to put those pieces together in a better light. You just can't.
Well, no, because you're just you're coming out of like a cyclone of emotion and turmoil, and all you want to do when you graduate high school is get the fuck out of it. And you are going and you hop from one thing to another, whether it be jobs, whether it be college, whether it be the next step in your journey, just to kind of suppress that crap and run away from it. And
It's almost like the stereotype, and this is the greatest analogy I ever thought of, or it's going to fall flat on its face. You remember on all the cartoon shows when they would put the character in a fucking padded room and they would lose their shit, and then like at some point they open the door and they fall out of it and fall flat on their face?
yeah,
That is controlling parents. It's putting your kid in a padded fucking room, walking the fuck away, teaching them fuck all, teaching them to listen to teachers who tell them to do their homework and screaming at them if they don't. And literally, that is the only thing you teach them. And the second you open the padded fucking room, they fall and break their face on the fucking sidewalk that you never showed them was there.
you know, it can't be the cycle that continues. You know, if it can't be the cycle that continues, it's not the answer.
No,
You, you
and it's
have to
so
do things
cyclical.
different if you want a different result. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. You have to find out and pluck out those generational curses. You have to figure out how to look within your own family toxicity and stop that shit, because it is going to continue. And then you're not going to think about it because you're out of the house, you're at college, you're falling in love, you get engaged, you get married, and then you have kids. And then the stress really starts, and you don't even realize that you're starting to act just like the parent you hated
Because
the
it's
most.
easy.
It's what you were taught,
Yeah.
and
Right.
you don't realize it. A lot of
I
people,
looked
some
at
people don't realize it.
I looked at Bree and I said, I don't have a fucking book to tell me how to be a man. I
Yeah.
didn't have a dad. I don't have a book on telling me how to be a dad. I didn't have one. I had a whole bunch of dudes that were around that I fucking loved, and half of them were shit, and half of them were fantastic and have their own demons. But it's like nobody's fucking perfect. So you have to sit here and pick little things out from everybody. Half of them aren't even dads, and you're just hoping that it fucking plays off when you're a dad. I don't know how to be a husband. I don't know how to be a dad. I don't know how to be a man. I'm just trying to do my best to put it together and hope that it fucking works. Learning by women, it's such a weird paradox in the end that you have to do that regardless. And nobody really tells you that. It's like, unless you have the ability to grow and learn the things yourself when you're fucking 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, you're still going to learn the same shit. It's like going through math class when you're in seventh grade and they're like, hey, if you don't pass this year, guess what? You're going to pass it next year. It doesn't matter. You got to keep doing it until you learn. It's the same shit in real life.
Mhm.
It's just changing the Pythagorean theorem to how the fuck do you change your diaper. There's no difference. It's still trying to figure out how the fuck to do it right.
Mhm.
You know what? Regardless of if there's a toxic problem that you're dealing with, I'm dealing with, whoever's dealing with, know that it's okay to let go. Know that it's okay to come back. Know that it's okay to fucking decide that somebody really isn't worth the pain that they give. But realize the strength in your decision. Realize that you might come back at some day hoping that they were there, especially if something happens. So make decisions and realize that you can go back on them and be okay if they're the end. Guess what? Keep taking that next fucking turn. Keep walking the lonely road. We'll be here fucking next week. We'll be here the week after, as long as I'm not a dipshit and overbook. We'll see you fucking next time.
Peace.